Hello and welcome to another RuneScape 3 video. In this video, I wanted to go over some of the best AFK methods I used for a few of my skills. Now, this is in response to a comment I did get on a previous video, but it got me thinking, and it actually got me thinking back to how I ended up getting every skill to 200 million experience. And a few of the skills I was able to AFK all the way up there. I'll bring this over here. So all my combat stats, mining, fishing, and archaeology were the ones that I could think of were the easiest skills to get to 200 million experience whilst maintaining the most AFK ability. So I would play other games, I would do watch movies, watch Netflix, all that stuff while I was doing these skills. And I tried to think back as well, not just give my top tier method that I currently use for a lot of the skills that I even am continuing to use, for example combat, because I do still get KC at Archaeology a lot, so there's a lot of XP I'm not getting there at the moment, but that was the method I did use to get all my skills up to 200 mil in combat, but I will go over that in a bit. I also brainstormed how I got them up at lower levels as well, because certain things that are unlocked at a higher level you won't have access straight away to. And keep all this in mind as well, there will be you'll have to play the game to get to certain points that you can AFK, and there are skills like sort of herb lore, agility, things like that, summoning, that you cannot AFK. There will be some skills here that you have to play. But if you're looking for just an extremely AFK-able skill, let's go over the few that I have for you today. Alright, let's start off with combat. As it's no surprise, what I would recommend to do is to AFK the Archaeology. It does require a few things, a few quests to be unlocked, and probably base 75 to 85 stats. I did fight this at level 70 necromancy and was able to AFK it all the way up to 200 mil necromancy. Now, I was thinking about a few other methods that you could use, like God Wars Dungeon 1. I did actually complete the drop logs there, AFKing magic, melee, and range. I didn't get 200 mil there, I got those 200 mil XP here. But the reason I like the Archaeology so much for AFKing your combat stats is that this is a completely safe boss fight. So if you do die, you just spawn outside. It is, keep in mind though, double check that it is 100% safe for Hardcore Ironman. I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't have a Hardcore Ironman for RuneScape 3. I'm thinking about doing one, but maybe one day. But yeah, just the best boss to actually AFK your combat stats up to 120, 99, 200 mil, whatever your goal is. You can do it, as I said, from level 75 and up, and you don't need auras, although at lower levels you may need the vampirism aura, but yeah, at higher levels you definitely don't need it. And if you die, you just go back in there anyway, so it's not a big deal at the end. The drops you get from Archaeology are good. You will make some money from this. Keep in mind though, I have watched a few videos that Jagex are planning to nerf Archaeology by about 40 to 60%. So I will do a video on that when it happens. I think it's in May sometime. That they're doing that for the health of the game, which I can understand. You do get a lot of alchables from the Archaeology. You get water battle staves and orichalcum salvage, I think it is. So you can make a lot of money from that, and I wish they weren't nerfing it, because this method is great for Iron Man and any main accounts that are looking to make a little bit of money. You don't need aggression potions here at all. Archaeology will attack you every time it spawns, and you'll get at lower levels probably about 20 to 40 kills an hour. At higher levels I've gotten 78, 68 kills an hour, around that 70 mark, so it is quite a good boss to fight. So yeah, definitely this is the way I would train my melee, ranged, magic, and necromancy skills up to 200 million experience. I've done a heap of other things, and I've just always come back to Archaeology. You can just set it on a second monitor. Don't even have to click, you just have to click basically the ground. So all I do is, I've got my loot interface over here. Every now and then I'll click. Some hours I've clicked no more than probably 6 times, if that. I've missed a lot of loot and left it on the ground, but at the same time, it wouldn't be AFK if you had to keep interacting with it. So All you've got to do is hit loot all every now and then. This menu will stay open. On your mobile devices, it doesn't. I did try doing it on a mobile device. I do prefer the interface for a mobile device when AFKing. It just seems a lot cleaner than what you've got going on. I just wish the loot menu would stay open on mobile devices. Maybe something Jagex can improve upon, if they haven't already, in the future. So yeah, anyway, what I'll move on to now is another skill. So I'll see you in a bit. Alright, now let's move on to mining. So for mining, the single best AFK method I found was Stone. I did mix it up with the Ark, I believe, mining the golden crabs for their on their backs. You get, I needed chimes at the time, I think it is. But if you don't want to do that and you don't want to interact with it because they will deplete and you will have to interact with that a little bit, this is the next best option. Stones are really good. At the moment I'm getting around 185 to 200k an hour on the tracker. You get corrupted ore, which leads you to the smithing AFKable method. But yeah, Stones are really, really good. You just click it. You will... I don't even think it does the mining minigame, the mining changes that happened where you lose stamina. I haven't done it in a long time. I did this well before the mining and smithing rework, but yeah, this is what I would do if you need some AFK mining XP. Again, the requirements are kind of heavy. You need to unlock Prifdinous and you need to come here. So once you've got that unlocked, you're ready to go. So that means you need to do a lot of other quests. And as I've said throughout the video again, a lot of these true, really AFK methods do require a little bit of setup. Once you've got the setup done though, you can AFK to your heart's content. So what I'll do now is I will move along to smithing. Alright, now let's move into smithing. So the way I did smithing was two ways. First of all, I used my proteins whenever I had them on a double XP weekend on World 84. That was the main way I got smithing up. But the other way you can do it is corrupted ore. So corrupted ore is something you can mine from a Stone, like I did in the previous method with mining. Or there is a better way that I did most of it, was with crystal keys. I opened the crystal chest in Prifdinous about 100,000 times. Now that requires a lot of focus, and it does, you have to click it, and it is very interactive and you are actually playing the game. So in order to set up the AFK smithing method, you do need to play the game a fair bit with opening a lot of these crystal chests if you want a healthy amount of corrupted ore. And all you do is you take your corrupted ore, I'll move this out of the way, take this down to a furnace, and you just click on the furnace, and basically all you do, you click your corrupted ore, press enter, and for 144 seconds you will be smithing the corrupted ore. At the moment, looking at the tracker, looks like I'll have to do it for a little while to test it, but it's up to 500,000 XP an hour. But yeah, it is a good way to do it, because when it runs out, you just click it and press enter, and it will go again for another 144 seconds, which maths is about 2 minutes 20 seconds, I believe. So not bad. So you'll have to still interact with the game a little bit. There is no real other way, I don't think, for smithing. I believe you can do the smithing in Falador. I can't remember what it was. You use it to unlock the Royal Cannon and a heap of other stuff. That is another good way as well, but I think you have to interact with that a little bit and play the game actively to accomplish that. But this is the most AFK method I found with smithing, so definitely worth doing if you want to do something AFK and get your smithing level up. Alright, I'll move on to the next one. Alright, now I'm moving on to fishing. So the way I got fishing up was at the Croceus front, fishing for Elder Troves. So all you have to do is teleport to Sentistan with your enriched Pontifex ring. Now if you don't have that, again, is going to require a heap of unlocks. So you'll have to do the Temple of Sentistan quest, unlock God Wars 3, upgrade the ring all the way up. I don't believe you need to upgrade the ring though. If you can still make it here, because once you do get here, you can stay here pretty much forever if you want. So all you do is you run down the bridge, past the NPCs earlier, you get to the end, and on the right there will be a pond. So I also recommend bringing your fishing outfit, and in the Brooch of the Gods, I think I do have some fishing urns. You don't need a brooch, you can just bring the fishing urns. But here, I just step on this tile right here, so in between these two. And all I did was I clicked between these two with a, a Rodomatic, and I used those in order to get my invention up as well. So when they got to level 9, I just what do they call it? Disassembled it and got the XP drop for that. And I had like 10 here, and I just, go to the next one. From this, you will get Elder Troves, which are very profitable if you get a big page drop. And the part, if you can always be fishing on the glowing part, I believe you get better rates. In order to fish from here, I do believe you need 87 or 88 fishing, or 92. I don't think it's one of those levels you need. But once you have that level, sitting here, all I do is just sit here and AFK it, basically. Now this one, you will find you'll probably have periods where you're not doing anything, because as I just clicked on the Lumbridge Guard just there to start fishing, it could have been completed within about 5 seconds. And unless you're watching the screen and watching out for that, you may find yourself not fishing sometimes. But for the most part, I was getting, I think at the time, 200,000 to 300,000 XP an hour, I think. Again, I did that years ago, usually, I think it was almost straight after Crozius released. And funny enough, I've actually never fought Crozius. I do not have one KC in Crozius. So yeah, when I didn't have to run back and forth all that often. So when I did, I just teleported to the main temple and ran across the bridge to this location. I should have got 1 KC, because if you do get a kill count in Crozius, you do spawn straight up here on the top, and you can just run down. So it is getting there a bit easier. But again, as I said, there are a few requirements for it, but once you've unlocked those requirements and you can start doing the method, you will find it very AFK. Again, you can click probably 10 to 20 times an hour whilst you're doing something else, and you will get fishing XP from it. So yeah, at the moment it is only saying 130k XP, so at the time I may have had bonus XP I was using, because I thought it was a fair bit better than that. So yeah, if you don't have bonus XP, expect about that 100 to 150k XP an hour. Again, if you do stop fishing and you don't fish for a little while, your XP rates will drop. But that's the downside to AFKing. It means you can do something else, but your XP rates will not be efficient or the best. So anyway, let me move on to the next method. Alright, the final skill I want to talk about today is, you guessed it, Archaeology. So when you start a new account, you can pretty much do Archaeology, I believe, from the start. All you go do is you come to this location here, which is east of Varrock, so the Archaeology campus. You will get a journal, and you can do the tutorial just up here. In order to move around, I'm just checking, is there I believe there is a map. Once you get the Master's outfit, you won't actually need to use this map. You can just teleport around with the outfit. So one of the first locations you unlock is, I think it is Alcarad, after you've done the tutorial and achieved level 5. And all you have to do is you come down here and you're basically just excavating these sites. So my recommendation is to do the best one you can do for the most XP. I use 4 Grace of the Elves. The reason I had 4 is because before the update came out, that was Ancient Gravel. Oh yeah, it goes into there. There are a few things you can get that get rid of that as well. I'm probably missing something here because I haven't done this in years. I went for 200 mil when the skill released at the height of the epidemic, which was, we were all at home and yep, could smash out the skill very quickly. But with a Grace of the Elves, you get these like Venator light crossbow that you can repair for the major XP drops. But when you're on higher soil or remains, it takes a bit longer to collect them, depending on the level of your Matic and other buffs you've got going on. So once you've got those, basically you get a full inventory of those, bank them, and then come back and do it again. With the Grace of the Elves, I have unlocked the 2000 cap for porter storage. It was 500 before then, so when I had 4, I had 2000 in total for porters. So you will need porters to send the components like Third Age Iron, Zerosian Insignia to the bank, so that you're not filling up your inventory straight away. This seems like I'm collecting things really fast. It's just because of my Madoc and my Archaeology level. That's why it's I'm getting things so quickly. But if you're here just starting, it'll probably take a lot longer to get them. So you'll be AFKing for about anywhere from 20 seconds up to probably a minute and a half, depending on the artifact you're trying to find. But it's a very chill, relaxed method to do. Definitely something I'd put on a second monitor and just click on every now and then. These sites don't move. You can chase the little sprite that moves from site to site. I personally never did. I just clicked on the one that I was sitting at because I could just watch something else or do something else while it excavated the whole thing. So yeah, that is another skill that I would do in order to AFK and get some passive gains. You can make money from this skill as well, and the XP rates are not too bad once you start repairing the artifacts you get. To pay, I'm only getting 20k per XP per hour here doing this. So this definitely isn't the way to get the XP, but it is still something you need to do anyway to get 99 or 120 Archaeology. Oh, a Serum Spirit, I'll just click that. Oh, I didn't get the Hazelmare's ring. Oh, I was expecting that then. Jokes. Wasn't. Maybe one day. But yeah, so this is something, definitely a great skill that was introduced to RS3 and definitely an AFK skill. So anyway, I will move on to the conclusion. Alright, now for the conclusion. So there's a few really good AFK methods you can use if you want to throw RuneScape 3 up on a second monitor and do something else. For example, what I have on my second monitor right now is I'm mining at the Motherlode mine on old school RuneScape on my Hardcore Iron Man. I'm thieving from wealthy citizens on my old school RuneScape main account, and I fight the Archaeology on the other side of that when I'm not doing a video, obviously. So that is what I usually do on a second monitor while I'm playing the Oblivion remaster at the moment. So yeah, there are definitely some things you can do that are AFK. So some of those methods are definitely worth trying. Keep in mind though, not all skills will be as AFKable as others. For example, like Dungeoneering is definitely not, in my opinion, an AFK skill if you're not using the MTX dummies. Like a lot of MTX now includes so many methods to absolutely destroy the rates for XP gain, and I will admit that I did use a fair few of them to get 200 mil in a lot of skills. So that is another way you can get up to 200 mil, but the point of this video was to be as AFK as possible, and hopefully I showed you a few methods that are pretty good. And these are methods that I personally used in my grind all the way up to 5.8 billion experience. So if you did like the video, please drop a like down below and leave a comment if there's anything you'd like me to change or do in the future. If you're enjoying the videos, that would be great. And if you would consider subscribing to the channel, that would also be really good. I'm up to 430 subscribers, which hopefully one day will seem like such a low amount, but at the moment there is a great community developing on YouTube. I'm getting so many comments across all my videos, and it's just good to engage with you all. So thank you for your continued support, and I'll see you in the next one.